This is In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. Conversations with trailblazers, glass ceiling breakers, and champions for change who inspire and cultivate leaders every day.
I am back in the black with Mr. Regynald Washington. We've been talking about his journey to becoming a titan of the hospitality industry, which included over a decade leading food and beverage teams at Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Now, Regynald, you've been a leader in hospitality, travel, and dining for nearly 4 decades. But what makes a great leader?
First of all, when you're a leader, you set the tone. It starts at the top. I can walk into a hotel, I can walk into a restaurant and look at the details. I can look at the way the people are attired. I can look at the way that I'm greeted. I can look at the cleanliness of the place and the feel of the operation. I could give you a pretty good description of the person who is the top guy leading that place, because when you are a leader, you set the tone. Leadership means giving people the tools that they need to do the job that you expect of them. Leadership means giving honest feedback in a very respectful manner so that you can accomplish excellence. Leadership means living, walking, and talking the talk. As a leader, your behavior matters. People are watching you every day, and you cannot preach one thing and do another thing. You have to lead by example. Leadership means creating a healthy, positive, productive, enthusiastic workplace. People come to work and they spend a lot of hours at work. And you want people to come to work because it's fun to be at work, and it's fun to win, and it's fun to be excellent, and it's fun to take it over the top. This is what you want to do. And as a leader, you got to be there. You got to touch your employees. You got to touch your guests. You got to touch the product. You got to understand your employees' issues. If there are pain points in their role, you have to understand where those pain points are and eliminate them, fix them. If there's anything in your operation that isn't working properly, you got to fix it. And when your people see that you have a sense of urgency, they will have a sense of urgency, and it permeates through the organization. And leadership is an interesting thing. I've worked for a lot of different leaders, many of which were excellent leaders, but then I worked for some leaders who were not so excellent. And the ones who were not so excellent, I learned exactly what I didn't want to be. And the ones who were super, super excellent, I learned what I wanted to be. I'll tell you a quick story. I can remember some years ago, I was reporting to the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. I was running Disney Regional Entertainment Division, which was a division with all the sports entertainment, ESPN zones and Disney Quest and so forth and so on. My leader was a fantastic leader. His name was Paul Pressler. Paul was the chairman. During that time, the Disney company obviously owned a lot of different companies, and ABC was one of the companies that they owned, ABC Television Network. We had terrible ratings at ABC during that time. Michael Eisner was the chairman of the entire Disney company. And Michael decided that he wanted to have all of the business units within the Disney organization to work together and find ways to find synergy to really help ABC's image and to uplift ABC, and also to help us on Wall Street because it was impacting our stock. So he had each business unit to put together a presentation, and there were probably 25 different companies, and I was one of the company leaders who had to present for my company. And we were presenting to Michael Eisner and all of his direct reports. And all of his direct reports would have been my boss, the chairman of Parks and Resorts, the chairman of studios. You had the chairman of ABC, a chairman of ESPN, all the companies. I put my presentation together, and I called my boss, and I said, look, I have my presentation. I'm going to be doing this presentation in front of you, with all your peers and in front of your boss. I says, do you want me to come over and walk you through it? I'll come to your office and I'll show you what I'm doing. You want me to email it to you, and you want to talk about it? You want to stop by my office? What do you want to do? And he says, don't worry about it. I'll see it when everybody else gets to see it. When you have a boss who trusts you to that extent, I mean, this was on that particular day, that could have been the end of my career. If my presentation was really terrible, it could have seriously impacted my boss's career as well, because he's there with his boss, the chairman of the entire Disney company, and all of the chairmen of all of Michael Eisner's direct reports, all of his C-suite folks. So it put me under a lot of pressure, but now I made sure I wasn't gonna fall and not do what I needed to do. It's like, okay, my boss really trusted me, and it's wonderful, isn't it? When you are a leader, when you can really have your people to know that you trust them, they'll step up and they'll do a lot of incredible things. But you gotta pay attention to people, and you gotta find out what is it that they do well in their power alley, and you have to magnify those things and give them an opportunity to showcase those talents and so forth and so on. So it was a great day. It was a great day.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think about just the fact that you have won so many trophies in terms of what you've done. You won more trophies than Tom Brady and Michael Jordan combined. A few years ago, the Georgia Restaurant Association presented you with a Lifetime Achievement Award at its annual gala. What do these kinds of accolades mean to you now, Regynald?
The thing about it is, I'm a very humble, respectful guy. I don't read my own press in it, and I don't let it swell my head. Whenever I receive accolades and trophies and so forth and so on, actually it makes me work that much harder, because I want to live up to the recognition that I've received, and I don't want to disappoint. Many years ago, I was at a dinner with Pete Herman. Pete Herman was one of the largest Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisees in the world, and in fact, he was Colonel Sanders' business partner. He was the one who came up with the finger licking good
tagline,
and tagline, and putting the chicken in the big buckets and all that kind of stuff. And Pete Herman was a billionaire, very, very humble, respectful, kind, generous, wonderful leader. And I was sitting at a dinner with him, and I said to him, Pete, you've done so well in the chicken business. And I said, the chicken business is not a exciting business. I mean, it's your people got to work in these kitchens, and they have flour all over them. They smell like grease by the time they go home at night. They're dealing with people from A to Z, and folk going to buy chicken may not be the most exciting clientele in the world. So they put up with a lot. I said, so what do you do as a leader to motivate them and keep them in a positive space? And he says, Regynald, we have a policy in our company. Anything that we say about any of our teammates must be so positive that it gives them one hell of a reputation to live up to. That really stuck with me. So when you start talking about your people, when you say a lot of positive things about your people, they work hard to live up to those positive accolades. And getting back to your question, all the accolades I've received, I work even harder to defend the title and to honor those accolades on a daily basis.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs and leaders looking to make a mark in the hospitality industry? What would you say to them?
Well, one of the things I said earlier, you need to be a maniac about excellence. You got to go deep before you go wide. C, do what you say you're going to do. Be where you say you're going to be. If you make a commitment, live up to your commitments. Don't make empty commitments and then back up on them. Be a person who can be held accountable, a person that people know when they trust in you that you're not going to drop the ball. And then one of the things I said earlier, it's fun to leave a legacy. Often you have to take risks, but when you take risks, do not take risks that you've not researched. Take calculated risk. Don't take a risk where you're gonna just lose your shirt because there's something very obvious that you should have researched or you should have known and you didn't. Do your homework and understand what kind of risk you're taking. But you cannot be afraid to take risks. And then the other thing, no matter what business you're in, you're always going to have people I call it the naysayers, who are going to tell you what you can't do, and people who are the dollars and they're negative and so forth and so on. You can't let that stuff get in your head and start toying with your enthusiasm and your ability to get traction and move forward. I use the saying often. Eleanor Roosevelt once made the statement that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So then you don't give consent.
Amen.
And you go ahead and you do what you got to do every day.
I have a favorite quote of hers too. Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, but great minds discuss ideas.
That's wonderful.
So I want to ask you this. I'd love to just hear an example of when you talk about maniac and excellence, something that you've done that everybody just walked away like, wow, now that's something. Can you give an example of something?
I think when I first came to the Disney company, my first job was the executive in charge of food and beverage for Epcot, which is a very large operation. Epcot, back, this was in 1997. I mean, we were probably $150 million business in just food and beverage. I had all these restaurants. I mean, the World Showcase with restaurants representing all these different countries, China, Japan, Canada, Italy, France, Mexico, the United Kingdom. I mean, we had all this stuff, and then we had quick service, a lot of quick service restaurants, and we had a huge special events team with real big catering department where we would do themed catered events all over property. When I got there, one would assume that all of the management people in the various business units within the food and beverage organization knew exactly what they were doing. They did things the same way, and they knew how to read income statements and so on and so on. But once I got into this thing, I found out, I had people running $13, $15 million pieces of my business who didn't understand how to interpret financial data. They did not understand a balance sheet. They did not understand an income statement. Then looked at, as I would visit all my different operations, I would see people using different approaches to open their facilities and to close their facilities at night. And they didn't use checklists to check to make sure that everything was in order in the same fashion. And I put all these things in place, and created a huge competition among my management people. I had a core team that would go and evaluate each of the restaurants once a quarter, and they would receive a numerical score. And they would look at their sanitation, they would look at their learning and development records, look at their financial performance, look at the food quality, look at the guest service, look at the maintenance, the cleanliness, the recycling, all of the things that mattered, and they would get a score. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we would hold a big event where we would give awards for folk who scored the best in each one of those categories. And then we would give one big award to the business unit and the management team that really had everything together and really took it over the top. Well, this was all about excellence. The whole underlying philosophy about having checklists for everything, and our opening procedures and our closing procedures. And I ran classes to teach the management people how to become more financially grounded and to have better financial acumen, I guess you might say. All of this stuff just kept making our quality go up, 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 up. And then all of a sudden, we were the talk of the company because we were pounding results that were so outstanding. People asked, how did you do this? Well, I did that through my people. I did that with leadership. I did that through education. I did that through enthusiasm, making it fun. I did that through recognition, rewards, all of these things that we've talked about in the past, however long we've been chatting here today. That's an example about being a maniac about excellence. All of a sudden, if I walk through Epcot, I didn't expect to walk by one of my restaurants and see the sign at the front of the door with light bulbs missing, or to see plants that hadn't been watered, or to see areas that needed painting, or to see people that are not in fresh, crisp outfits, or to see food that was not properly prepared, or to see guests that were not happy. We measured everything in that organization. So I got guest scores and we got a lot of feedback. So I could look at the guest scores and tell, exactly how the guests felt about their experience. And I focus in on those things about being excellent. And all of a sudden, all my people want to be excellent. So, I had a master sommelier to train all of my management people and in terms of wines, and to get them certified. And all of a sudden I had everybody swirling and sniffing and tasting and they were having fun and they are selling, and it just turned into a fun thing. And that's an example of being a maniac about excellence.
I love it. My last thing I'm going to ask you, looking back at your career and your journey, what legacy or impact do you hope to leave behind in the hospitality and business world?
I want to leave a legacy that it is important to pay it forward and to give back, in a legacy that you need to be kind and respectful to others, a legacy that you need to be a humanitarian, a legacy when my name is heard anywhere, people think of, again, the word excellence. That's the legacy I want to leave.
Oh, I love it. Regynald Washington, the maniac about excellence. I want to just thank you, man, for being on the show In the Black. And I hope if you're listening, that you're really listening on what he's saying, and it happens to add to your life. And you too can be a maniac about excellence. I'm sitting over here taking notes to make some changes on this side. So, Regynald, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for being In the Black. And we pray that everybody listening will continue to be in the black.
Thank you. And T. Dallas, we are also very proud of your accomplishments. I know you asked all the questions, but you've done some remarkable things, and I've known you for a very long time. And life is really not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it's been really beautiful watching your journey, and you've had a fabulous journey.
Oh, man, you're the best. Appreciate you, Regynald.
This has been In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. To find out how you can change the dominant narrative in the commercial real estate industry and challenge the status quo to improve the lives of others, go to tdsintheblack.com. In the Black with T. Dallas Smith is a production of Forbes Books.